So it's not surprising to me that Ann Kelly is flaunting the law. She's flaunting the law. She's not going to respond to this federal civil lawsuit because she believes that she's above the law. She's covered up Phil Greeny's crime after crime after crime. She's covering up the crimes of people that have shot at me. So we're supposed to think that using the Second Amendment is the worst crime of the century, but doing drive-by shootings, going around murdering people's dogs, spotlighting people late at night, stalking people, tailgating people, terrorizing people every time they come out to build their fence for a fucking year. So 200 fucking crimes we're going to ignore and pretend that 200 crimes did not happen. Why would she be like this? This is the same shit that Alonzo Payne did. Alonzo Payne didn't give a damn about the truth. Alonzo Payne didn't give a shit about the truth. She's carrying on with the insanity that Alonzo Payne had put down on paper. She's shoving a liar's lie down the people's throats. And why is she doing this? What the fuck is she gaining out of this? She's been served. She's been served for this case. Number 24 CV01851 RMR. And this is a motion to correct a clerical error. I'm going to do another motion for a default judgment. I'm suing Ann Kelly for $25,000. And she's been rightfully served. She knows about the case. All she'd have to do is just answer it and say, I think this and that. It's pretty simple. But she doesn't care about civil procedure. She doesn't care about right or wrong. She thinks she's above the law. And when it comes to Nazis and when it comes to the criminals, man, they're just a hiccup away committing the crimes. When it comes to committing the crimes, do I have anything here? Yeah, right here. Let's take a look at this. Well, I was going to take a look at this video. But this could have turned into a drive-by shooting. This is from SLV Revolutions from 2 years ago. Well, I'm going to just read the motion, okay? So this motion is for the 6 remaining plaintiffs. So Nathan Ruybal, Ann Kelly, Cruz Soto, Michelle Quintana, Keith Schultz, and Danny Sanchez. This is to correct a clerical error. Cruz Soto has got lawyers. Ann Kelly, Nathan Ruybal, Michelle Quintana, criminal. Keith Schultz, Danny Sanchez, criminal. They think that they're above the law. So, why are the lawyers for Cruz Soto filing on behalf of the 5 defendants who obviously flaunted federal law and have no respect for procedure, judges, magistrates, or federal court itself? Cruz Soto's got lawyers. Now, they're going to, file an objection on their behalf, but are they doing it for one of these defendants, or are they just doing it just because they're on the docket? I think we need some clarity, and so with the clarity, I'm going to point out a couple things here. Civil Procedure Rule 60A says that you can correct things. If you made a mistake, you get to correct it. There's oversights, there's omissions. The court may correct a clerical mistake or mistake arising from oversight or omission whenever one is found in a judgment order or other part of the record. The court may do so on motion or on its own with or without notice, but after an appeal has been docketed in the appellate court and while it is pending, such a mistake may be corrected only with the appellate court's leave. So this is not in appeals court. This is in district court in Denver. And so therefore, we can correct this thing. They had filed some sort of thing saying, hey, there's an error here, and there's actually these people are not on it, and then these people are not on it. Well, I get real specific. Who is this case still consist of? So the Honorable Magistrate Catherine Starnella had issued a minute order, I'm not for sure, but EFC number 22 on November 26, 2024, and it says this. It is hereby ordered that the motion to correct or a judicial notice for a motion to correct 17, the motion to correct and his motion to file second amended complaint as a second amended complaint, 18 are granted. The clerk of court is directed to rename 16 to second amended complaint to modify the case caption to reflect the defendant's name therein. Attachments number 1, continuation of main document CMADR entered November 26, 2024. And you can actually click on these things. You can click on this 16 and it'll go to the PACER thing, so you'll need to have a PACER account, 18, 17. So the minute order, the minute order, is it a minute order? It is a kind of a minute order, like a small order. The minute, it could be like a minute order. I'm not for sure. The minute minute order, EFC number 22, directed the clerk of court to modify the case caption to reflect the defendant's name therein from the second amended complaint. So to begin with, I had 21 people that were listed. Now, when I had 21 people that were listed, there were some names I had dropped and some names I had added. And the names that I had dropped, Michael Gonzalez, apparently, when it comes to these damn 1983 cases, you can't do a judicial officer. There's something about a judicial officer. Don't want to look the damn thing up. I do. Let's see. 1983. Let's read what the damn thing says. So this is a civil action for a deprivation of rights. And so what it says is every person has rights. And then it says here at the very end, everybody can be sued except that in any action brought against a judicial officer for an act or omission taken in such officer's judicial capacity, injunctive relief shall not be granted unless a declaratory decree was violated or a declaratory relief was unavailable. Declaratory decree, I'm not for sure. There is an exception, but basically it's saying you can sue everybody but a judicial officer. You can sue everybody but a judicial officer except for this declaratory decree. That's the only exception. Something about a declaratory decree. So, who are the judicial officers? Just the judge. Just the judge. The judge will need a clerk, or a bailiff or two. But just the judge. When it comes to people saying that they get full-on immunity, I cannot stand immunity. Who gives a shit about liberties if you just have immunity? Immunity means you can just do as the fuck as you please. Hurt whoever you want, as long as you say that it's done in the name of the official business of the government. Why'd you just, throw that person down the flight of steps? Well, it was official government business. Oh, okay. Well, then you get immunity. So, on the second amended complaint, I had 21 defendants that were listed. 21 defendants: Victor Hummel, Robert Pickerel, Susan Lucero, Adam Clayton, Joe Canty, Hunter Vasquez, Phil Greeny, Colin Romero, Keith Schultz. And I had to write a complaint for each one of these. I had to write the complaint. I had to write what laws that they broke. Keith Schultz, Soto Cruz, Danny Sanchez, Kim Woods, Louis DeJoy, Nathan Ruybal, Michelle Quintana, Kenny Capin, Sam Jepson, Hiram Richardson, Noah Spaulding, Noble Havens, and Ann Kelly. Now, I took off the judges because, like I just said, they're judicial officers. So Gilbert Roman, Michael Gonzalez, and Brian Boatwright were taken off the list. And I added a couple, basically the civilian criminals, right? Hiram Richardson, Robert Pickerel, Phil Greeny, care of Gary Gonzalez. Interesting that Phil Greeny lives in this guy's name, Gary Gonzalez. And it makes me wonder, is Gary Gonzalez related to Michael Gonzalez? That would be a conflict of interest from hell. That's like, fucking got you. I fucking got you, motherfuckers. Could be a coincidence. I was able to get these 6 of the above 21 defendants professionally served. Ann Kelly, Nathan Ruybal, Michelle Quintana, Keith Schultz, Cruz Soto, and Danny Sanchez. And it's Cruz Soto, not Soto Cruz. I've been saying it the exact opposite way. So out of those 6 people that I have served, Cruz Soto is the only one that's got lawyered up. Keith Schultz is saying, fuck you, federal government. Danny Sanchez says, fuck you, federal government. These people are about to pay me $25 grand. Ann Kelly, Nathan Ruybal, Michelle Quintana, Keith Schultz, and Danny Sanchez are about to pay me $25,000. They've been properly served. They knew about this thing for months. I first filed it back in July. They had the original complaint. But I've just been doing internal wranglings. I've been trying to get, the pro se, there's courts. Apparently the federal government, I like the federal government better, but we've had a couple back and forth about how I filed this or that. So let's read this last paragraph here. Very smart paragraph. Whatever error was made, it's clearly a digital scrivener's error, which looks like it's already been corrected. It's better to be a meticulous and fastidious rationalist than a glib and puerile sophist. Is that how you say it? Puerile or puerile? But I'd rather be a meticulous and fastidious rationalist than a glib and puerile sophist. You just some sort of sophist piece of shit? You don't need to be a sophist piece of shit, just saying a bunch of shit, distracting people. Nah, I'd rather be a meticulous and fastidious rationalist. The truth requires details, precise details, along with sagacious analysis. That's why I took careful notes, called 911, told my perspective on YouTube, etc., to encapsulate and to preserve the truth forever. Regressive corruptionists want to efficaciously vitiate and rapaciously decimate the truth, but I won't let them. More motions to follow. John Masters, April 11th, 2025. I sent a true copy to O'Connell and Redmond to their emails. I also called their office, and it's a motion to correct the, clerical error. So this is, just to these lawyers, and then, I'll send a second motion for default judgment coming soon. But with these six, what 5 of these 6 people need to do, Soto Cruz has got a lawyer. He's lawyered up. But if Ann Kelly, Nathan Ruybal, Michelle Quintana, Keith Schultz, and Danny Sanchez doesn't file anything soon, they need to either get their own lawyers to file something, or they need to respond themselves. And since they know so much about the fucking law, the fact that Ann Kelly is breaking this law, this just shows me a lot about what Ann Kelly believes. She believes she's above the law. She's going to cover up Phil Greeny's crimes. She's going to cover up Robert Pickerell's crimes. Sam Jepson tried to take shots at me. She's okay with that. She's okay with Sam Jepson trying to murder me. She's okay with Robert Pickerell trying to... He was harassing me, and he was in a car where I believe Kenny Capon had fired shots at me. She's okay with drive-by shootings. She's okay with drive-by shootings, and she's not okay with people that stand up for the Second Amendment. She's not okay with people that stand up for civil liberties. She doesn't believe in truth or justice. And then when it comes down to some specific cases, I was just looking at some of these cases here. You got this Jessica Medina who had stabbed 52-year-old Jeffrey Segura. Well, is that going to be self-defense? Is she just going to let that person go? Ann Kelly let David Delata go. David Delata killed a man. She didn't even want to try it. I fired a couple warning shots that injured nobody. So David Delata, is he a genius? David Delata shot and killed a person. She wouldn't even try it. So what, a dead man don't tell tales is my mistake that I fired a couple warning shots instead of fatal shots? Is that the mistake that I made? These are terrible lessons. And this is just Alonzo Payne 2.0. What's the difference between her and Alonzo Payne? Not only did she let David Delata go, but Christopher Mondragon. What did Christopher Mondragon do? Well, he's not going to go to court. She's doing a Christopher Mondragon. She's doing a Robert Pickerell. She's hiding in her little house. She's not responding, not saying what's going on. She's flaunting the law. She's ignoring the law. She thinks she's above the law. She thinks that she doesn't have to answer the law. Phil Greeny was subpoenaed, didn't come to fucking court. That motherfucker committed dozens of fucking crimes against me. Dozens of fucking crimes. Why is Ann Kelly covering all these criminals up? Why is she covering so many fucking crimes up? The injustice of this shit is so overwhelming, it's not even funny. What else is there? Let's see here. Christopher Mondragon, he killed Kenny John. Stole his truck, stole the trailer, stole the four-wheeler. But he didn't turn himself in to the damn courthouse, so they don't know what to do. Christopher Mondragon straight up murdered somebody. They don't know what to do. She don't know what to do. She don't know. Should we go after him? Put a warrant out? Who gives a shit? If a cop doesn't arrest somebody, she doesn't know what to do. Clearly it's wrong, right? I would like to think that she thinks it's wrong. Maybe not. There's a couple other things that had happened. This guy, he had shot at the police, right? And then it hit somebody. He got sentenced to 40 years. And then a Saguache County deputy sheriff, he shot and murdered a man. And they said, well, he lunged at us with a metal pipe. Well, this, Daniel Brandt, he was shooting at people that had guns on them, right? And they were chasing him with guns. So if you're being chased with guns, you can't shoot back. But if you're being chased with a pipe, you're allowed to shoot back. Ann Kelly was like, I know he's dead and gone, but I'm not even going to charge him. I'm not even going to try to charge him. I think it's reasonable. Oh, how fucking convenient. How convenient. Why would she think that's reasonable? So if somebody is about to bludgeon you with a pipe, you're allowed to shoot and murder them. David Delata is allowed to shoot and murder Omega Revelation McCullough. But if somebody threatened you, you're not allowed to shoot a couple warning shots. If you're allowed to use guns up to the point of lethal force, why wouldn't you be allowed to use guns for self-defense when it comes to warning shots? Warning shots is less than lethal force. If you're allowed to use lethal force, then clearly the Second Amendment was also protect warning shots the same. And then they say, well, it wasn't imminent. Okay, well, warning shots aren't imminent. They're very much proportional. So, yeah, that's some of the things that's going on. That's the motion to correct clerical error. And Kelly, you need to respond. I know you don't know jack shit about the law, because you have no morals, and you don't know shit about the law, and you don't know shit about civil procedure. But, it's interesting how when the shoe's on the other foot, right, she's going to ignore all the court proceedings. Interesting. That's interesting. That's just like, it's like a couple people. It's like Chris Mondragon ignored all the fucking thing. Phil Greene ignored all the things. Robert Pickerel ignored all the things. You know who else ignores it? Maybe it's a legal tactic. But you know who ignores legal proceedings? Criminals. Criminal motherfuckers. Christopher Mondragon knows that, she's not going to pretend to be Oz. She's not going to accuse Christopher Mondragon of having sex with a witness. She's not going to put on this stupid dog and pony kangaroo court bullshit. Christopher Mondragon doesn't have to go to court and get stupid ass fucking looks from people. I guess he's got a PhD in law. He committed the crime and then fucking skedaddled. And Kelly don't know what to do. Now, if a cop brings somebody in, then, she'll rape the body. But if they don't have the body, that's just such a terrible lesson. Because it's like the crime doesn't even matter. It's the arrest that matters. So if a cop kidnaps a person, then that's 100% guilty. But if the person is guilty, well then that doesn't mean shit. Anyways. So a motion to correct clerical error has been filed. And Kelly, you need to respond to your federal civil lawsuit soon. You needed to file from before, so I'm going to get a default ruling, and I'm going to get $25,000. So maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should just, you're above the law. You don't even need to file a damn thing. You're above the law. Just pay me my $25,000. You fucked me over for no fucking reason whatsoever. We're basically the same age. I codified the fucking Colorado law. I know law better than when it comes to the rules of evidence. When I was there studying it, if they were paying any attention, I codified the procedure. I codified the rules of evidence. When it came to the case law, the procedure, I wrote the list of felonies down and a list of freedoms. Napoleon said that that's the one thing he wished he would have done when it came to the French law. He wished he would have codified the French law. And that's what I did for Colorado. If they're paying attention. It's not my darkness they're afraid of, it's my light. Why did they have to crush Jesus Christ? Because he was threatening? No, because he was a good person and they needed to crush a good man. That's why Pontius Pilate needed to crush Jesus Christ.